Today's topic is going to be a double or simultaneous shift of supply and demand practice. What we're looking at now is that supply and demand can move simultaneously. When that happens, we're going to figure out what happens to the equilibrium price and the equilibrium quantity. So that's going to give us three different outcomes. They're either going to increase, decrease, or be indeterminate. Indeterminate, think of it like a question mark, saying, well, we don't know because it didn't go up or down. But we'll see that that's going to be a way that the economy can actually keep prices stable. Let's take a look at what that means. So supply is going to go up. When something goes up or increases, I know it's going to shift to the right. Demand is going to go up, and I know that also means it's going to shift to the right. So on my graph, I need to set up, just like anything else, with my price and my quantity. I'll have my supply and my demand curves. Supply sloping up, demand sloping down, and of course where they have equilibrium is at their crossing point. So supply is going to shift to the right, demand is going to shift to the right. Well, I'll start with demand, I shift that to the right, got D to D1, got my right arrow, and then I'm going to try and gauge this to where I have my lines or my curves about the same distance apart. So I'm going to do this one about right there. So I now have S1 as well. So where S1 and D1 cross, those are our new equilibriums because there are new curves. So I see that they cross right here, and that happens to be right at the same level of where price is. That tells me that price didn't go up or down because as suppliers made more, the public demanded more. Either way, it's an equilibrium situation where supply and demand are equal, but what we call indeterminate. So price is going to be indeterminate, but I know that quantity also went to the right or increased. So my quantity supplied and quantity demanded both increased. So there is more product out in the market, and there is more demand for that product out in the market. So these, quantity went up and price was indeterminate. So sorry that's a little mushy because I'm using a Sharpie so you can get a better look at it. Let's go through the others right now. So I'm going to have supply decrease to the left. Now demand is also going to decrease. So on my graph, let's see what that looks like. See if I can get a little further away now from these, make that a little more clear. So we got our price and our quantity, supply and demand. So we're going to have a decrease in demand. Oh, forgot my original equilibrium price and quantity, so we can see what's going on. So demand shifted to the left, there's my arrow, and supply is also going to shift to the left. There's my other arrow. And when that happens, where S1 and D1 cross, I notice that their price didn't go up or down again. So price, once again, is going to be indeterminate, but I do know that the quantity decreased. So quantity decreased because there's less demand in the economy and there's less supply in the economy. Now if we have a supply increase and a demand decrease, just thinking kind of logically, we're making more of it and less people want it. So I know that's going to be a surplus. Anytime there's a surplus, things get cheap. I'm going to try and locate this graph once again a little bit better because drawing with Sharpie is not always the best. Got my supply, demand, equilibrium price, equilibrium quantity. So supply is going to shift to the right, S to S1. Demand, though, is going to go to the left, D to D1. There's that arrow pointed that way. All right, so let's see. There's D1 and there's S1. They're going to cross right here. And where they cross, quantity now is indeterminate because I don't know what that's going to do. But what did I see the price do? Well, that's where they crossed. And that's kind of what we predicted, isn't it? We predicted with more supply and less demand that our price is going to drop. So quantity indeterminate, and price is going to be a decrease. All right, one more possibility to go. it's going to be a supply decrease to the left, a demand increase to the right. And so I'm thinking if they're making less of it and there's more demand, kind of like the lumber issues we had during the pandemic, I know that that is going to drive prices way up. So I don't really know how to graph way up, but that's a thing. So we've got our supply, got our demand. So I know supply is going to decrease. And, forgot my equilibrium to start with. We always need a starting point so we can kind of gauge what happens in the economy. Demand is going to shift to the right from D to D1. Okay, so there's D1. Where's it going to cross S1? Right here. So I notice that quantity doesn't do anything. It's indeterminate. What we do have is that price hike we talked about. So I see that from original equilibrium to this one right here, they're all lined up in vertical. So our quantity is going to be indeterminate, and our price is going to go up. So let's take everything we learned. Kind of do this so you can pause it and look at these if you need to. Move that up. Okay, now let's flip this over. Well, that looks horrible. So let's try it with one I didn't do in Sharpie. All right, assume that the market for bottled water is in equilibrium. Now, if I assume that, if both the supply and the demand for bottled water decrease, what would the effect on equilibrium price and quantity? So I'm going to graph water. Said they're in equilibrium, didn't it? Equilibrium. So if this is a multiple choice question, this is what paper is so useful for. Got supply, got demand, got the price, quantity, and my quantity. Now what does it say? Both supply and demand decrease. So we're going to have supply decrease, demand decrease. So I'm going to draw supply shifting to the left, demand shifting to the left. Now D1, I go across here, and I find that it does that. Okay, so now I know that price didn't do anything because it's even with the original equilibrium. Quantity, however, decreased. So now I know supply decrease, demand decrease. That's going to lead to a price being, sorry, I just lost my word right there. Indeterminate. There we go. All right, so let's look at these. Answer A. Price is a decrease. So I'm out on that one. What I'm searching for here is my price being indeterminate. So it's not that one, it's not that one, it's not that one. And price indeterminate and quantity decrease. Well, got my winner. So all we have is saying it's go with what you know. So just take one thing you know for sure and eliminate what you can real quick and then come to your correct answer. So that is how you solve indeterminates.